After 22 rounds and 2 enthralling legs of semi-final football, it all comes down to this grand final contest at Magic Park. Cookshill, the minor premiers, with one of the most experienced rosters in the competition, and they will look to win their first ever grand final in the New FM First Division. Bell Swans, their opponents, a club steeped in history, appear in their second grand final in a row, and they have their sights set on a drought-breaking grand final victory. Not since 1986 have they won a grand final, and this afternoon they get another chance here at Magic Park. Second-tier action in northern New South Wales as Cookshill United face Belmont Swansea United in the New FM Northern League 1. Boys, your thoughts this afternoon?
You know, I've been speaking smudge around the grounds as they're coming in. People mostly are saying Cookshill should win this game, but you know what? I did watch Belmont Swansea last week, and they looked particularly good.
All right, we're going to head downstairs to Declan Payne. He's got Cookshill coach Graham Law with him.
Down here with Cookshill coach Graham Law. And Graham, any pre-match nerves from your boys?
You always have nerves in a final. I think nerves are healthy. But, we're very confident that we can get the job done.
No Jonas Ramspot today after he copped an injury last weekend. Who have you brought in to replace him?
Dan Clements has came in at the back. And, Jonas has done his ACL, which we're all distraught about, but that's football, so, yeah.
Very good. Best of luck today, Graham. Back to you, boys.
Thanks for that, Declan. Downstairs with Cookshill coach Graham Law. The wind just picking up a little this afternoon at Magic Park. It was a nice morning, and it's just cooled things down a little bit. It's 17 degrees in Broadmeadow. The wind 23 kilometres an hour from the south-southwest. So that will be behind Cookshill in this first half. As you can see, both captains having a chat centre ground. Callum Gallagher from Cookshill, number 9, and number 11, Joel Shearer, striker for Bell Swan. So we might have to change that. They're going to switch ends. So the win behind Bell Swans in the first half in their bright yellow. Cookshill, they'll be from left to right in their black and white stripes. Sponsored by Blue Door, the brother of Harry James owning Blue Door. Is it Pete that owns Blue Door?
Yeah, good old Pete James. Used to be a good player back in the day. I played with Peter when he was about 15-year-old, so for Adamstown. But looking at both sides here, but very experienced players on both sides, isn't there, CT?
Yeah, for sure. I was just saying before that interview that when coming into the ground, most people were saying that Cookshill were going to romp this game in, but after watching Belmont Swansea against Cahaiba last weekend, I'm not 100% sure of that. They've got some very experienced and high-quality players in their side.
So Aaron Strickland, our referee for this afternoon's grand final, Joel Shearer and Bell Swans to get us underway. They were defeated in last year's grand final in a penalty shootout to Wallsend. And the grand final of the New FM Northern League 1 of 2017 is quickly underway. And Tegan Marcus almost quickly in on goal for Bell Swans. We said, as you said, CT, Cookshill, a lot of people thinking they're going to put the cleaners through Bell Swans, but in matches earlier this season, it's gone each way. Bell Swans beat Cookshill 1-0 in round 13. Cookshill won 6-2 in round 3. It should be a good contest this afternoon, as we've got a player down already. This doesn't look good at all, does it? See if we can get that on replay. Yeah, see if it is the Callum Gallagher just checking. Yeah, it's Lee Ashton who's gone down. Former Western Bear. Spent some time at South Cardiff as well.
Yeah, just a clash to the mandible, to the side of the jaw. Sort of knocked him down a little bit. He sort of went down quite quickly, didn't he? But, looking at both sides and talking to both coaches during the week, both coaches believe these two sides are the best playing football sides this year in the New FM division. So, and both sides fitting for being in the grand final.
Yeah, Lee Ashton, so just coming to the sideline. 2 goals for Western last season. He's Cookshill's leading scorer in 2017. He scored 17 times.
Both teams looking to have a classic 4-4-2 setup. At least Bell Swans haven't cast through the Cooks Hill side closely yet. Definitely 4 at the back. Looks like 4-4-2 for them as well, Smudge.
Here's Ashton. Playing the ball wide to Daniel Yaxley.
Yeah, mate, just looking nice and early. Looks like a flat 4-4-2 for both sides at the moment. It's going to be a game of chess, I think, early on. They're just going to size each other up till either side gets into a rhythm or a pattern of play.
When we're talking about Belmont Swansea before, and we'll get to Cooks Hill no doubt, but you just go through their players without going through the whole side. But there's Teager, Shearer, Sean Matthews that we know well, Harper, Gazzard, Mitchell Cook, Rufo. Just to name a few.
I was going to say, CT, we remember the name Teager Marcus last year from the grand final. He played for Wallsend. He was the leading scorer in the New FM First Division this season. 20 goals he scored up to this point. Callan Lewis offside and comes to blows with Ben Parmenter in the Bell Swans goal.
Just on Teagan Marcus, I was talking to Damien Zane after Edgeworth's epic win last night, and he was saying that Teagan Marcus has been training with Edgeworth as well. He's a lovely young guy, and he's doing really well, so I think Damien Zane's here to have a bit of a look at him.
And hot off the presses is that he is going to Western next year. So
Hopefully Bell Swans knows that part.
Here's Matthews. I've got it off a good source too, Smudge, so it's a big signing for Western. It's Jake Hamilton in goals for Cooks Hill. Experienced goalkeeper for them. He's spent some time in the NPL while he is only young. Both sides just feeling each other out in this opening period of the match. I can go through the earlier grand final scores for you as it just crosses the sideline. So in the first match, the under-15s, West Wallsend took on Cooks Hill. West Wallsend won that one 2-1. In the 17s, it was reversed. Cooks Hill won 2-1. In the 19s, New Lambton 3-2 over Bell Swans. Fantastic news for them. And in the 23s, Wallsend 4-1 over West Wallsend in the Wallsend derby. How good was the 19s, but New Lambton with the win.
We understand that your brother plays for New Lambton, Bart. That's why there's a spring in the voice.
That's right. He does. This one curled in towards the near post. Headed away by Steele Harvey. Shearer getting in there as well. Callan Lewis knows this ground well. He spent some time at Magic, did Callan Lewis, as Bramley. I can tell you, CT, he scored in that match today in the grand final. So good day out for the Eagles. Good night as well for the other Eagles. Edgeworth last night as Yaxley towards the byline. He just a little too heavy on that touch.
It's only been going 5 minutes, CT, but it's quite an even start. Both sides sort of getting in penetrating into each other's 18-yard box nice and early.
We've seen a couple of balls that have been over-hit early. Last night we were saying the centimetre at Edgeworth is about 3 to 4. This one looks like a fraction slower at about a 5 without an actual measurement, but still very quick.
Parmenter goes long. Bramley over the sideline. Yeah, the road to the grand final for both these sides took some very, very different paths. Cooks Hill finished as the premiers. First place on the ladder was tight, 43 points. Bell Swans finished in third, but they only finished 2 points below the Cookers. They finished on 41. And in the semi-finals, Cooks Hill beat Thornton Redbacks 10-1 on aggregate over the two legs. For Bell Swans, they lost the first leg 2-0 to Cahibah at home at Blacksmiths Oval. In the second leg, they overturned it at Cahibah Oval and won 3-0 in extra time. Dan Rufo with the goal.
And that was
tall defender, brother of Josh Rufo, the coach.
And Dave Hodson broke his arm.
And CT was apparently there watching as well.
Yeah, it was tough conditions up there because the ground, it was a really windy day, and the ground, this is a 5 in the centimetre, it was a 2, it was flying, and there was a lot of turnover. It was really difficult to play in, and really unfortunate for Dave Hodgson because no one likes to see an injury like that. And you know what? If he stays on the park, maybe it's a different outcome for them, but, that's football, isn't it?
This one headed back by Harvey to Parmenter. That's the thing. Injuries are all part and parcel. Not just football, in sport in general, really, as Parmenter goes long. He was playing H Division for the last few years. There you go, Ben Parmenter. He's a former teammate of Joe Wheelhouse and Nigel Bogart at Newcastle United. But he had a break from football, the Bell Swans keeper, to be part of a punk rock band as his teammates push forward. Here's Callan Lewis making forward for the Cookers. And threads a perfect ball through to Daniel Yaxley. Early chance for Yaxley across the face and into the crossbar. I can't quite understand how that one hasn't gone in.
I think it was Steve Harvey who went across the face of the goal, and the Bell Swans defender
was Nick Russell in the middle.
Terrific ball in.
Sliding in.
It's so hard to put it over the bar from there.
That's
Flipped
almost
it on the way.
Here he is, Nick Russell. He's been at South Cardiff, Maitland last season, on the left boot, whipping it in. And Sean Matthews just got his head to it. He spent some time at Lake Macquarie, Sean Matthews. Under you at all, CT?
Yeah, you know what? Sean Matthews' first year of playing first grade football, he and I played in the midfield together. So I was on my way out when he was on his way in. So that was only a couple of years ago. But, yeah, he's been around for a long time, and great time at Lakes as well. But
Johnson! The corner curls its way inside the far post, and the Premiers are on their way on grand final day.
Yeah, what a great corner. Very difficult for the goalkeeper, but who was on the post? I think it was Dan Riffo. We're taking a look. They had two guys on the post, the back stick. It looked like Dan Ruffo jumped in front of the person who was on the back stick, which probably put him off a little bit. Well, actually, Dan Ruffo got the nod on, I think, straight into the back goal as an own goal. But what a wicked corner, wasn't it, CT?
Yeah, it's so hard to defend against it. Probably may have gone in anyway, as it was.
Good start by Cooks Hill. Only 10 minutes gone, they're 1-0 up.
It was a dangerous corner. Speaking of men scoring from corners, the last... From memory, in the games that I have called, that's only the second goal that I've seen go in straight from a corner. Would you believe the other man that scored a goal straight from a corner was Nick Russell, who actually took the previous corner. He scored one for South Cardiff back in 2015 against Charlestown.
Good memory, Bart.
This one chipped forward and a little too heavy and over the byline from Steele Harvey. So 10 minutes gone. The first 10 down here in the New FM Northern League One Grand Final in 2017. Ben Homer, Chris Turner, Damien Smith with you in commentary here today. Daniel Johnson, we believe, with the opening goal for the Cookers. The favourites here on Grand Final Day 2017. Joel Shearer goes back and finds Rufo. Chips forward. Using his body. Here it is back with Shearer. Across the face. Shanks clearance away by Johnson. Ashton goes up. Only with an air swing. And we'll just run on to Jake Hamilton. Daniel Yaxley at Cooks Hill this year. He spent some time at Adamstown under Pete McGuinness to start 2017. He actually got red carded in round 3 of the NPL against Edgeworth. And from memory, that was his last game before he came to play for Cooks Hill. There's a bit of drama around that as Parmenter goes up. He gets it away out of the box in the end. Yaxley was there and he plays it back to Lee Ashton. That's the face and the head up fades wide there from Ash Balcombe.
Yeah, if Ash Borkham had his time again, you'd probably nod the ball back across to Callum Lewis, who was in the centre of the goal. So instead of going for goal, probably just nod it back across. But in saying that, the sun was probably directly in his eyes as well as it was coming across.
Actually, Bolcom's another Lake Macquarie former player as well. He can play in the middle of the park very, very comfortably. In fact, that's where I'd like to see him, and he's highly capable. It just goes to show what quality the midfield is in Cooks Hill if he's not in it.
Teague Marcus, we mentioned 20 goals this season. He hasn't scored in his last 5, and he's unable to keep the ball inside the line there. Jake Hamilton played first grade for Adamstown last year due to the red card and injury crisis that plagued them. I was going back just to have a look in research for this one about the red cards Adamstown received last year. I couldn't believe how many. There was a period there of about 3 or 4 games in a row, and I know Scott Carter got sent off in one of the matches. He was injured, and Jake Hamilton came in to the side. Paul Bitts as well, goalkeeping last year at Adamstown, and I went through about 3 keepers last season. Here's Ash Borkham pushing forward. No stranger to the NPL, Ash Borkham. Spent some time at Western last year, South Cardiff the year before, where he scored in the same game that Nick Russell scored from the corner against Charlestown. Scored for South Cardiff.
Very congested, isn't it, CT? Mitchell Cook at the back for Bell Swans to the back line of Cooksville. It's only, 20-25 yards. Very congested. I'd like to see Bell Swans get a bit wider, use a bit more width like they are right now. Well, probably start wider.
Yeah, that's well done. Josh Hall onto the right, curling it in. Shearer looking for Marcus. 2 members of this, and the coach, Josh Rutho, 2 members out there for Bell Swans who were part of Wallsend's grand final winning side. As I mentioned, Chris Gazzard in number 6 and Teague Marcus up front. They won on a penalty shootout. A 0-all scoreline as Sean Matthews is found by Callum Lewis. 14 minutes.
I've heard that groan before. To be honest, I know Sean well, and that's hurt him. I think that's an ankle. He goes out with his ankles heavily strapped, and he's very particular about the way that they're strapped as well. Hopefully he'll get up.
You're thinking he could be in trouble here?
He's as tough as they come, this character. You've got to know he's hurt. So just see how he runs this one out, Smudge. But he just will. He's like, his nickname's Jaime. Well, that's what I call him out of Maxwell Smart, anyone that's of that vintage. And he's the machine.
He's the ultimate professional, isn't he, CT?
I'll say to you, CT, here is Gazzard. Curling in towards Teague Marcus, but Dan Clements, who was the Adamstown club captain last year, the header away. Pulled in again. And now on the turn, it trickles along the turf from Mitch Harper there, who he came to Bell Swans mid-season after he spent the start of the season. He was one of the players to leave Charlestown. There's a string of Charlestown players that left the club this season. He was one.
Yeah, he had a few good years at Charlestown. I liked him as a player. He was quite a very tidy midfielder, worked hard. He was sort of box-to-box sort of player. So, nice header.
Nicely down the line. I will tell you, CT, Get Smart. Yeah, I've watched every episode of Get Smart, even though I'm not from that vintage.
There you go.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, me too.
Speaking of Maxwell Smart, Smudge, you said Daniel Clements had some. He was in doubt prior to the game. What was behind that?
I have no idea. I just knew he was in doubt. Then he had to do a warm-up and just test his... I'm sure... Do you know, Bart?
Well, I have got some info from Graham Law. Says that he suffers from continual bad health due to sharing everything with Daniel Yaxley.
I'm not sure how you're going to sort that out in the warm-up, but anyway. Yeah.
A cough test, maybe the flu or something. This one curled in by Russell. Lies at the back post. Ashton on the turn. It's scrambled across the line by Daniel Yaxley. And Cooks Hill double their lead. They are running away with the grand final. 16 and a half minutes gone here. Cooks Hill 2, Bell Swans 0.
And again, Bell Swans on a set piece, sort of in a bit of shambles, weren't they, CT? Just not clearing, not desperate to clear the ball. So, and a few Cooks Hill players unmarked in the 6-yard box.
The delivery in was the one and the header back. But this is the perfect start for Graham Law and his troops. That's exactly the start they're after.
And they're making up for grand final goals in the New FM Northern League 1. Last year, no goals in 2 hours of football. We've had 2 in the first 17 here as Tegan Marcus quickly on the turn. He gives Dan Klebitz a little bit of a knock to the ground. The Cooks Hill fans loving it below us. Here's Ashton. The outside of his boot to Yaxley. And Yaxley gets cleaned up by Rufo, who is going to earn himself a yellow card.
What Cooks Hill are doing really well here, CT, they're transitioning really quickly. As soon as they get the ball, they've got 3 or 4 numbers working hard, working quickly. And as you know, Bell Swans have got a bit of a, Mitchell Cook, Daniel Rufo, haven't got the speediest back line in the league.
Yeah, and when they've come out from the back, they come out in numbers, don't they? So when they're running forward in numbers and they've got options, it makes them look very, very, very dangerous. The view we've got from here, from this camera angle, is a very good one to be able to look at that.
Whipped in again, and Parmenter goes up. It was angling in towards that top corner. And Parmenter with the outside of his boot, trying to send Tegan Marks on a run towards the Bell Swans. Fans on the far side of the grounds, we see Parmenter with that grab. Here's Matthews. Back for Wilson.
The other thing I like about Callum Lewis, he works really hard in defence. He's playing up front with Josh, with Lee Ashton. However, he works hard in defence and sort of drops in a number 10 role and sort of clogs the space a little bit. But also when they've got the ball, he drops into that number 10 into the pockets and creates that overlap in midfield for Cooks Hill, which is working well.
Clements. Now Stephen Bramley.
Just going back on Clements, his knee's heavily strapped, so obviously it must have been a knee issue.
So Stephen Bramley throwing this one in. He was at Singleton last season. There he is again. It's almost intercepting. Gallagher goes all the way back to Jake Hamilton. Oh, trying to find Balcombe, but intercepted, and may have copped a little clip there, Chris Gazzard. Definitely thought he did. It's Johnson. Finds Yaxley, Rufo with a boot in. The match winner last weekend against Cohiba. Johnson, Lewis.
He's been busy, Johnson, the opening 20 minutes.
There's Balcombe and to Shearer. Tegan Marcus. It's Joel Shearer and Balcombe just try to untangle themselves as Bell Swans push on via Gazzard, who plays in Marcus, although he is offside.
Interesting change here. Nick Russell and Daniel Yaxley just swapping sides.
Any reason behind that, are you thinking, Smudge?
Normally you swap sides if one of your attackers can't get the better of the defender, or one's lacking a bit of pace, and you sort of try and match one of your faster guys with the slower sort of defender. So, but at the moment, it's been working really well for Graham Law, so he's probably had a pre-game plan to actually swap him after 15 or 20 minutes. For me, I probably wouldn't change too much at the moment. You're up 2-0 and looking quite comfortable.
Tracking back is Balcombe. To think about it, Ben Parmenter made in the Bell Swans goals, he probably hasn't had that much to do. It's just been 2 chances that Cooks Hill have taken.
Yeah, agree with you, Bart. If you look at possession, I think Cooks Hill's definitely shades Bell Swans at the moment.
Matthews on the turn.
But it's all about the result, isn't it, CT, in games like this? It's all about the final result. You with us, mate? Here we go. Look, they break nice and quick.
Callan Lewis trying to slide it through. Parmenter comes out and may have clipped him. He could be off here. No, it's just a yellow card.
Very, very lucky.
Very lucky, I felt. There he is. That would have been a big call. So he's saying that those Bell Swans players, Mitch Cook racing back, Rufo as well, would have could have potentially stopped the run or stopped the goal for Cooks Hill there as Russell raced downfield. Here he is. So Parmenter clips him. What are your thoughts?
It's just a decision that you've got to make at the time. But, you know, in the end, for Belmont Swansea, he was home, would have been 3-0, and then all they've ended up with is a Cook yellow card. So I think they've come out of this
I agree with you,
sweet.
Parmenter yellow card. For
Parmenter, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a special ball through. Special ball. A great run by Russell. In beyond the back four of Bell Swans. And unlucky not to score.
So everyone back inside the 18-yard box for Bell Swans. Shows you how important this is for them.
And they haven't defended set pieces that well at the moment. Cooks Hill have had, 2 corners, or about 3 or 4 set pieces, and they've scored 2 goals.
I'll rephrase that. Steele Harvey has just been having a chat over here to the Bell Swans bench so that he's up as Johnson. He's already scored, and Parmenter makes a brilliant save at the near post. Steele Harvey receiving treatment, so Bell Swans down to 10 momentarily. Here is Parmenter with a brilliant save, up high to his right. Mick Stafford says that he's the best shot stopper that he has seen. He proved that right there.
Yeah,
it
great
came
save.
Quick, didn't it?
Great save. Great free kick by Daniel Johnson.
Johnson again. This one on top of the goal. And do Bell Swans have a look at those 2 goals and sort of say, well, they were just sort of came out of nowhere. They were scrappy. And maybe we're not as far out of this one as the scoreboard suggests. You know, a corner that's whipped in and just finds its way inside the back post, and then a scramble, a poor clearance. Callan Lewis.
I agree with that, Bart. However, they are 2-0 down, and it is the grand final. It's all about the end result today. And I honestly think another goal from Cooks Hill might really hurt Bell Swans. It'll be very difficult to get back into the game.
So Johnson standing over it again, as is Nick Russell. I think Nick Russell will walk away from the free kick. Here's Johnson again, curling it in, and Parmenter gets a hand to it. It will be a corner.
Bell Swans, they look a bit shaky on set pieces, don't they, CT?
They do. And watch the ball, the delivery that's in, comes in with purpose about it. Really making it so that it's just there to be hit or scored, get a touch ahead, and that's probably, what's happened previously.
There's been even Rufo there, who rose tallest.
And look at
Here is Russell with the corner whipped in, scrambled away again. They're just not winning that ball in the end, are they? In the air, are they, Bell Swans?
No, the other thing is Parmenter, he's probably one of the shortest blokes in the 6-yard box as the ball comes across. There's some tall timbers there. He's one of the shortest guys in the box, so he's having difficulty trying to knock the ball away.
He's been under a lot of pressure, hasn't he? Every time he's had to make a save, there's been just numbers around him.
Here he is, Parmenter.
Super well so far.
Flick on. They sit nicely here for Shearer, who takes it on. It'll just trickle straight to Hamilton. There's the long throw out to Yaxley, to Balcombe. Lewis.
So that's what I like about Callan Lewis. He's playing up front, but he drops deep, creates the overload in the midfield. If they can just keep the ball, they'll, like I said, overload the midfield, get runners going off him, and that could cause problems for Bell Swans. I'd probably like either Tegan Marcus or Joel Shearer doing the same, because they tend to be staying up high, and they've got their back four, which is marking two players. So I'd like to see one of them just drop a little bit deeper in the pockets, being able to turn, create that extra man in midfield.
Their second highest scorer this season, Callan Lewis. He scored 14 goals for them in 2017 and scored in the NPL back in 2015. He was at Broadmeadow, Lambton last season. Flick on towards Callan Lewis. He actually got lost, apparently, going to Thornton for the semi-finals.
That's not possible, but is it? Is that a true story?
It's a true story from Graham Law in the notes. Unless he's doing a Darren Sills.
It's possible.
Here's Rufo. Apparently they went there, they played there the week before as well. So actually, or 2 weeks before, they played Thornton at
And he got lost on the return leg.
Jake Hamilton. Get us back underway. How have you boys? There he is, Graham Law, former Adamstown coach. Spent some time at Maitland as well, where he won the grand final in the New FM First Division. That was actually New FM Northern League 1, I should say. It was the First Division back then, now with the name change. But they are the last side to win the Premiership and the Championship, do the double in the New FM Northern League 1. Maitland back in 2014. Wallsend, 2 grand final wins in the last 2 years, but they didn't win the Premiership in each of those seasons. Here's Alex Gillespie, another former Adamstown player. They're just filled with them, aren't they, Cookshill? Former Rosebuds. Gillespie. And now Johnson. Matthews charging in. There's bodies flying everywhere. And the arm goes the way of Bell Swans. Strickland is going to hand out the yellow card to Callum Gallagher, the Cookers captain. Here it is. So, boys, how have you recovered from last night? The drama, the suspense.
Wasn't it just such an entertaining festival of soccer last night, wasn't it? It was just a brilliant game to watch. The atmosphere was awesome. It was just such a torrid affair, wasn't it, boys?
Yeah, it went torrid. There we go again, Skelly. It was a game that it had everything, didn't it? It was action-packed from top to bottom and controversy at the end as well.
Probably Edgeworth shaded Magic in the end, but tell you what, Magic were very unlucky. Gilly had that chance right at the end.
Gazard chipping it in on the turn and just putting it wide is Harper. 3 goals this season for Mitch Harper. Almost added to his tally there. And they really have relied on Tegan Marcus for their goals this year. He scored 20. The next best is Josh Hall with 6, Shearer with 6 as well. So they have really relied on their striker. For Cookshill, they've got Lee Ashton 17, Callan Lewis 14, Nick Russell 11, Callum Gallagher 10. So they've got 4 players in double figures. And already today, 2 goals to the good. Daniel Yaxley, who scored his 4th of the season this afternoon, and Daniel Johnson with his 1st of the season in the grand final. It's a slow rise there for Stephen Bramley. Johnson to the back, and Gazzard on the turn. And still Harvey unable to keep the ball in the line. Inside the line, Lewis. Now Teague Marcus. Shapes infield. Hall. And the interception from Ashton. Quickly in there is Rufo. Bell Swans have just controlled a lot of the game since Cooks Hill scored their second. Teague Marcus curling that one in, and that will be no issue for Jake Hamilton. What's the issue at the moment for Bell Swans?
Just on Bell Swans, that was better play by Bell Swans. Good 1-2 interaction play between their midfielders and their strikers. It was, they did quite well. And unfortunately for Teague Marcus, the ball just went too far.
What have they got to do differently? Because they really haven't troubled Jake Hamilton.
Me personally, I think they need to, when they get the ball, play with a lot more width. They seem to be too narrow for me. Open up, spread Cooks Hill back four. Get the ball moving a little bit quicker, especially in transition, be a lot quicker. Tend to be a bit slow coming out from the back for me.
Balcombe, another goal before half-time from Cooks Hill, and it could be curtains for Bell Swans. It's been a long, long time since their last grand final win. 31 years. 1986, where they won the Northern New South Wales Top Flight. That was their last grand final victory. Founded in 1935, Bell Swans. They were called Belmont Blacksmith Rangers to start.
Oh.
And in 56, they changed their name to Bell Swans. Here's Ashton trying to make it three, and it will be a corner. Well
defended by Bell Swans.
2 top-grade grand final victories, so what the NPL is now for Bell Swans. In 1970, they beat the Rosebuds. And in 1986, where they beat West Wallsend. Did the double, the premiers in 1985.
So just on this corner angle, look at the sun right in front of the goalkeeper's eyes. You'll be aiming this straight at the goalkeeper.
There he is, Parmenter. That's a great take. And you could see there, Smudge, definitely the sun right in his line of sight. He launches one. Clements there on the head. Shearer on the turn. Here's Hall. Up down. Free kick goes the way of Bell Swans.
This is a great area for Belmont Swansea to get a ball played into the box here. Definite foul there, and now they've got a great opportunity also with the ball, keepers in the eyes. This one's going to be played away from the keeper, you'd imagine. So at this point, you've got these guys have got some tall timber. You can see Mitchell Cook's just gone up into the area, and Sean Matthews is floating just outside the edge of the box.
Talking to Graham Law during the week, he said Bell Swans will be dangerous on set pieces.
Well, here we go. This is their first real opportunity from the set piece. First one within range. So it's Teague Marcus standing over it. The heavy underdogs trying to find a route back into the grand final, because at the moment, Cooks Hill are shutting them out. Here is Marcus, bending one high and over the bar. Bit of an anti-climax in the end.
Yeah, I would have thought into the sun, what he could have done there is just put it in the mixer. We had a scrappy goal down the other end. I was kind of expecting something there. No one can really see it. Someone gets a stab on it, and that would have been a good option. But anyway, not to be. That one's gone clearly over the bar, and as you just said, Bart, an anti-climax.
Cooks Hill, and this is how dominant they've been in the front third. They've been kept scoreless once this season. That was against Bell Swans in round 13. So again this afternoon, they've ensured that it will just be once played through. Nick Russell just offside because it was going to be 3 if he wasn't. Here we go. We've got the perfect angle here.
It looks like it was going to be very tight. And whether he reminds me, it's obviously in a good spot. Ball was hit.
Oh, let's take that back.
Yeah, I'd say
if we can.
Very, very tight.
I don't want to. Here it
ball
is.
was touched.
That's
there.
Yeah,
he's onside.
From first thought, I thought he was onside, to be honest.
But his timing was very, very good. And when your timing's that precise and you come off at pace that quickly unmarked, got in there so clearly, didn't he, Smudge?
And again, Russell, that deep run from midfield, in beyond the back four, it's causing havoc for Bell Swans. He's got in twice now.
Another set piece whipped in.
But they transition quick.
Back for Callum Lewis. Yeah, and that decision may have just kept Bell Swans in the game for the moment.
Well, you've got to think they just, if they score Cooks Hill again before half-time, it's going to be very, very difficult for Belmont Swansea to come back. They've got to score 4 in the second half, and to be honest, at this point, it doesn't look like it.
In their first season in the new FM, Cooks Hill, a relatively new side in the top competitions in northern New South Wales. In 2015, they came into the new FM First Division, as it was called then, and finished 7th. In 2016 last year, they finished in 8th spot. So their first new FM Northern League 1 grand final. Just going Gazzard over the top. Going back to you now, Smudge.
So just going back on Bell Swans, they had a great opportunity there to go on the outside of Cooks Hill. They were so narrow. Their two right and left midfielders are so narrow. I'd like to see Hall and also Gazzard just a little bit closer to the touchline when they've got the ball. So then they've got space, and that opens up the middle four for Cooks Hill. So there'll be space and gaps to run in between, hey, CT?
Yeah, I think so. And here's the other thing for Belmont Swansea. If they concede another goal, 3-0, hard to see it come back. However, we've spoken all year and last year and the year before even about momentum and how important that is. If they get a goal now, which you'd think it was against a run of play, but 2-1 and it's game back on, and you'll see everyone lift, every player out there. But, the important thing for Belmont Swansea is if they can score next, they're back in the game.
Here's Balcombe. Dispossessed by Gazzard.
So here, this is where I like Bell Swans got the ball. I like to see even Rufo, left fullback, come out wide. So there's no options there. It's too tight.
It's almost easy.
From Ashton, he's the maestro in the midfield for Cooks Hill, isn't he? The driving force, the creative source.
Where Cooks Hill do the opposite. As soon as they get the ball, they spread wide, nice and wide.
Lewis rises. It's infield looking for Callum Gallagher. And Bramley after this one. Graham Law's record here at Magic Park in the NPL wasn't a great one, actually. Played 2 matches, he lost them both by a combined score of 10 goals to 4. That was Adamstown both times against Broadmeadow Magic. In 2015, they went down 3-2. In 2016, I think you remember, boys, 7-2. That was James Virgili's first match in the NPL Northern New South Wales, and he ran riot that afternoon.
Yeah, I do remember that match.
Is it an omen? They've only scored 2. So his sides have only scored 2 in each of those matches. Here's Lewis. Brought down. And they've had an interesting season, Cooks Hill. They played Western in the FFA Cup round 4 and lost 1-0 up at Rockwell Automation Park. A lot of people suspected they could get through against the Bears, but the young Bears were too good on that occasion. But it was their round 3 match that had everyone talking, where they had it rescheduled after, in their penalty shootout, they're playing against Swansea, and the lights went out on the timer at the ground at Swansea. The lights went out. It was pitch black midway through the shootout. They had to come back a couple of weeks later, and the next match was a shootout after it was 3-3 in after full time, as Dan Clements was able to shield that one over the line. So, yes, it was an interesting FFA Cup campaign for Bell Swans. They got carved up by Edgeworth. They lost 9-0 at Jack McLaughlin Oval. And there's been some interesting moments in the new FM Northern League 1 this season, with lights going out. I've watched a couple of games at New Lambton where one game had to get called off because the same thing happened. The timer on the lights went off with about 20 minutes to go in the game, pitch black. And then another game where the sprinklers came on with 20 minutes to go in another match. So it was both at Alder Park. It was it's a funny season in the Northern League 1. Never a dull moment.
Just on Cooks Hill, Nick Russell and Yaxley have moved back to their starting positions, what they started the game with. So Nick going to the left-hand side, Yaxley to the right-hand side. Graham Law's just mixing it up, mixing his side up a little bit, which is always good.
And just shielding that one over the line. I was texting you, Smudge, when those sprinklers came on with the photos. Have you ever heard anything like that? So 20 minutes left in a game, and the sprinklers on the park just turn on.
No, not me. I haven't.
Jake Hamilton. Back for Gazzard. Chipping forward, looking for Shearer. Can he do it all himself? He goes for a piggyback on Dan Clements. And Dan Clements earns himself a free kick after all of that.
He did well, Dan Clements. Just used his body very well, didn't he, CT? Just
He
to get
did.
in front of him.
And that he's actually having quite a solid game. Something that was in doubt. Shielded the ball out well a couple of minutes ago, and he's doing a great job in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Less than 3 minutes to go in the opening half of the 2017 New FM Northern League 1 decider. And it's Cooks Hill via a corner which found its way in from Daniel Johnson. And Daniel Yaxley, who is now down this near side. Yaxley into the middle. Ashton makes it 3-0. That could just seal the deal for the Cookers before half-time. Lovely cutback from Daniel Yaxley. And Cooks Hill's leading goal scorer in 2017 finishes it off 3-0.
Great lead-up work into that goal. There was a couple of 1-2s played. You see the ball here and the touch, and then the delivery. He looks up, picks his mark, finds it, and what an excellent finish. You know what? The Cooks Hill fans here have just gone crazy, and they know how much that goal means before half-time.
It took a little deflection, didn't it, off Mitch Cook here. No, Gazzard it was, sorry. Off Gazzard. There's the celebration.
And just again, Cooks Hill, like using the width of the ground, nice and wide, good into play.
Look at Stephen Bramley. He loved that. He turned to the bench.
Yeah, he knows how much that means, doesn't he? And so here they line up again, 3-0 up. Perfect start, perfect half for Cooks Hill. You'd love a 3-0 go into the second half as a coach, as a player, and here we go again.
I think it's also very important that Cooks Hill keeps the momentum going, try and push for another one and really close out the game. You just don't want to sit back.
Rufo into the neck of Yaxley. We spoke pre-game about a lot of predictions saying Cooks Hill were going to romp this one in. Well, they're doing just that at the moment. 3-0 before half-time. Gallagher. Here's Bramley. A reminder, Friday nights at McDonald Jones Stadium, we'll be doing the NPL Northern New South Wales live show. And that will be from 7 p.m. on the NPL Northern New South Wales Facebook page. Looking forward to that, as we are the grand final day of the NPL Northern New South Wales senior competitions. Teaga Marcus just able to keep that ball in from 2 o'clock next Saturday. We'll be doing the 18s, the 20s with the golden tonsils of Damien Smith and Chris Turner. That'll be a big game. Maitland up against Hamilton in that one. In the 18s, it's the emerging Jets, Daniel McBreen's side, up against Hamilton Olympic. And in first grade, Edgeworth and Lambton. Should be a good evening. That's from 7, the big decider in the NPL.
So it's interesting. You're looking forward to the Friday night live show. Haven't done one of these before, boys, and Smudge is continually screwing up, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
It'll be interesting. There'll be no 10 takes. So.
No. Anyway, good luck to us on Friday night.
Just going back to the difference of the two sides, like I said before, I think Cooks Hill's using the width good interplay. Cullen, good skill. Where for me, when they've got the ball, Swansea just a bit too narrow for me. So,
and the other thing is Cooks Hill have just been first to the ball pretty much all game, and when you're doing that, you're going to pick up more possession. The other thing that's notable is the width that Cooks Hill have been able to pull into the park, how they've been able to create some space, and Belmont, Swansea haven't really been doing that. It's almost like they're expecting a turnover, and that's they're in defensive mode.
And they're moving off the ball as well. Yeah, Cooks Hill. They played in the feet. They got runners. They got runners going off the ball, which is causing a few issues for Bell Swans. Hence the last goal to Lee Ashton.
Family infield. Lewis, he's got Russell over there on the left. That was an important clearance away from Harvey, former Valentine defender. Falcom. Shouldn't be too long left now. I've had a few stoppages. We had the early one, Lee Ashton. He's been in the wars, scored the goal and was injured and scored. In the opening minute he went down injured as well. Here he is, Ashton going up, losing out on the header to Cook.
Sean Matthews went down for
Sean Matthews as
a minute
well.
or so.
Yeah, that's another one. Rufo just thumps his left boot through it. Yaxley. And then it's Yaxley just gets fallen on top of Josh Hall. Callum Lewis looking to release Ashton. Into the 3rd minute of stoppage time now. So those injuries certainly impacted on the amount of time. Aaron Strickland hasn't looked at his watch too often. So potentially maybe another minute.
You know what, the other thing what Cooks Hill's done very well, they've limited Bell Swans to minimal chances, haven't they, CT? They've been very compact in defence, not giving any space or any room for Bell Swans.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jake Hamilton has barely been tested, has he?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you look at the back line there, you've got Gillespie and Clements.
And Aaron Strickland calls an end to the opening 45 minutes in the 2017 New FM Northern League 1 Grand Final. Cooks Hill, they raced out of the blocks. 2 goals in the opening 16 minutes. Lee Ashton with one just 3 minutes before the break to send the Cookers into the sheds with a very, very strong lead. Half-time here at Magic Park. It's Cooks Hill 3, Belmont Swansea 0. And Chris Turner have just been too good, haven't they?
They have, and I was just talking about the defensive line there, Smudge, with you, and they've been very strong. You touched on that. Left and right side have been very, very attacking in their nature as well. They've spread the ball well. They've held it well enough, and their ability to get to the ball first has been something that's been a feature, combined with their attacking in numbers. And when you're running forward in numbers, you're hard to stop, and that's probably been about the size of the first half for me.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, CT. And you know what? Bell Swans are lucky they're not 4-0 down, because Nick Russell and the goalkeeper down as well. Nick Russell did score a goal when it was ruled offside.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break over half-time. Cooks Hill with a 3-0 advantage. We'll be back in 10. Hello and welcome back to Magic Park for the second half of action here at Magic Park. Cooks Hill from right to left in their black and white, leading 3-0 against Bell Swans. Nick Russell, Daniel Johnson and Lee Ashton with the goals. And Daniel Johnson chipping wide for Callan Lewis to get us underway in the final 45 minutes of New FM Northern League 1 action in 2017. And Parmeter with a punch away already, the Bell Swans keeper. You've got a bit of work to do in the second 45 minutes. Rufo had a haul and Harper in there as well. Cooks are winning the early free kick. The minor premiers Cooks Hill, should say the premiers Cooks Hill up against the third placed Bell Swans in the regular season. They're looking to do the double. Here's Ashton weaving his way into the box. Harvey down the line trying to find Joel Shearer. Clements. He goes to find Stephen Bramley.
But I will say it's picturesque, isn't it, at the moment?
It's a lovely afternoon.
Lovely afternoon.
In Magic Park. The wind has died down, hasn't it,
It's
as
absolutely
well?
beautiful for football.
It was expected to be a little windier as we got along in the afternoon. Here's Matthews and Gazzard up and over the top. Tegan Marcus. They've got to score first in the second half. Bell Swans and Marcus just cannot get his shot on target. It's been the story of their afternoon, hasn't it?
Yeah, sure has. But that was a great ball by Gazzard. Perfectly weighted, straight over the top of the Cooks Hill defender. And again, for me, Bell Swans, they're way too narrow. If they had like a right fullback, left fullback overlapping, that really spread Cooks Hill's defence. Then they'll find space everywhere. Especially for the midfielders run in, make forward runs beyond the back four, link up with their strikers. Where Cooks Hill are doing the reverse, they're playing with some good width.
Matthews, Gazzard, no changes from either side at half time. Welcome. Marcus with the flick on. Gazzard just can't get his cross on. Not a great start to the second half. A little scrappy. They're going to have to find something a little more than this, Bell Swans.
And just looking at Cooks Hill, they're right on their fullback, are virtually touching the sideline, really spreading Bell Swans.
And Cooks Hill, they've proved why they are the best attacking side in the New FM Northern League 1. Here's another chance for them. Russell, infield. Yaxley, it's a tap in for Callan Lewis at the back post, and it is a grand final procession for the Cookers this afternoon. 4-0 just after half time. And aren't the Cooks Hill fans loving it down below, Smudge?
And again, Nick Russell is causing havoc, isn't he? Making those forward runs. What a tremendous ball across the face of the goal. Here it is. Gets in behind. Tremendous ball. Callan Lewis with an easy tap in the end. For me, Nick Russell is really causing a lot of damage. Same with Callan Lewis for Cooks Hill.
And I'll be honest, Nick Russell, when he was at South Cardiff in 2015 NPL season, I saw him play a bit, and I thought he was very impressive. I thought he was underutilised at Maitland last season.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago when I was coaching the Northern rep side, I had him in the rep side as more so a left fullback, because he was sort of playing left fullback for South Cardiff. I know. Yeah, I rate him highly as a player. But today he's made those runs in beyond the back four, and he's caused a few problems. He probably should have had a goal which was ruled offside. And then the keeper took him out as well. Here they go again.
Ashton, this could get ugly, couldn't it, for Bell Swans? They just have no answer, do they? Here's Gallagher now. So Ashton and then Lewis. So the top two goal scorers for the Cookers in 2017 on the score sheet. And Chris Turner has not returned from the halftime break, Smudge.
Not surprising. He always goes missing, as you know.
Don't know where he's gone.
Yeah, Broadmeadow, who lost the semi-final yesterday to Edgeworth, are actually celebrating their silly Sunday downstairs. So I think he was just having a quiet Coca-Cola with them.
This one curled in towards the back post. They're still a little frustrated, aren't they, about that grand final? I've heard it's a little interesting. They're still very frustrated with that, the ruling with the away goals.
Yeah, they won't let it go, will they? Will they, CT?
No, well, I mean, obviously, there was a bit of confusion last night at the end of the game amongst the players, but...
goes Gallagher and Clements. You didn't have to break up any fisticuffs, did you, CT? Security guard, CT.
No,
Oh, Gary Fisher's down there.
He's
so it's
down
all
there.
good.
He haven't sorted. I went to the toilet.
Well, here's the change, the opening change for Cooks Hill. Really, they had to make a change, didn't they? Onto the park for them is Cameron Lodge in 12.
Bell Swans,
I should say, sorry. Yeah, they had to, didn't they? Had to change something.
Yeah, for sure. I'd probably change their style as well a little bit. Just play with, keep going back to that width. They're way too narrow for me.
Russell trying to push through the centre. Gazzard calling it infield. Shearer isn't a bad option, and Lodge does well, the youngster, to keep it inside the line. Beautiful sunset in Newcastle this afternoon.
Yeah, sure is.
We'll be playing the last 40 minutes of this one under lights. Don't mind these time slots, they're twilight fixtures. Shearer with the attempted flick on.
And the temperature's perfect conditions, isn't it, Bart?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the issue at this time of the year. At this time of year after about 7 o'clock, if you're starting a match then, it just gets freezing, doesn't it? Around 9:30 as it did at Edgeworth last night. Needed about 8 layers on.
And again, Cooks Hill, they win the ball and they try to get wide nice and early. I'd also like to see Mitchell Cook as well, sort of bring himself into the middle of the park a little bit, sort of come forward a little bit. They're chasing the game. They need to score.
Here's Shearer. That's the thing. After they conceded the second goal, Bellswans, they controlled a lot of possession for a period there, but nothing came of it. Rufo, Hall rises, falls for Cameron Lodge, the super sub, and he sprays it over the bar. He's played in the 19s grand final winning side, a student, fittest in the club. Cameron Lodge, 3 goals this year, almost added to it in the grand final. This one towards the near post. Falls for Lodge again, he keeps it down. Scramble clear by Balcombe.
He's made an impact, hasn't he, Lodge? He's only been on the park, 10 or so minutes.
Wilson, wide he goes for Hall. Wilson, nice turn. Flick on attempted by Harper and Johnson. Safety first.
Yeah, I'd like to see Bell Swans as well. Maybe change their shape. Maybe go to a 3 at the back. Throw an extra person in midfield. Try and overload the midfield. Create that extra man, which will allow them to get more space. Play a few 1-2s with the strikers and get some guys making them forward runs beyond the back four. Great header by Rufo.
Might fall for Lodge again here. 3rd time. Unlucky. It falls for Rufo. He scuffs the shot.
Tell you what, Rufo will be disappointed with that when he has another look at it. He could have had great chance to put something on that.
And we've got some issues here for Cooks Hill. Alex Gillespie is down in the box. Aaron Strickland just having a look at Sean Matthews. Well, he smashed that into the canteen down below, I think. That one's gone. Sean Matthews, he gave it a bit, didn't he?
Oh, well, he's a competitor, Sean, isn't he? Well, everyone knows, as he knows, he calls him Shauno. He just drilled that one out of their frustration.
Wish we had a replay of where this one went from. Sean Matthews, here we go.
Shauno, turn. All right, here you go. Bang. I'm going to put that where it belongs.
Yeah. Just going back on
that one's come back with a schnitzel burger from down below, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Just going back on Rufo's chance early. If it was on his left foot, he would have nailed that home for sure, but it was on his less favoured foot, the right side, and just had no connection.
We'll see if we can get a camera shot of where that ball did end up going. I know Paul is down on the camera downstairs.
We'll see how that goes, but boys haven't ripped one out today yet.
Ripped what out?
A joke.
Oh, okay.
How do you circumcise a whale? You send down 4 skin divers.
Only the
the
crew
boys
from Barts
inside
are
having
actually
that.
laughing.
And Bart, that's legal, by the way. That's legal. Look at your 20-year-old shock. It's all good. 4 skin divers. That's all it is.
When David Eland walks in that door and carries you out, CT.
Even on family shows, that's legal. We're happy with that. By the way, that's courtesy of my brother Animal sitting at home with his snout in trough.
I didn't get
enjoying the game.
This is better.
Here's Steele Harvey.
Bell Swans with a bit of width here. That's better. And look, Riffo's getting nice and wide. It's the first time I've seen it all game. Look at it. They're nice and spread here. But in saying that, Cook Seal, look at that. They're nice and compact in the centre of the park. It's like a big brick wall, isn't there, CT, to get through?
Yeah, you can see that the back 4 just completely shielded in front of them with the other 4. And it makes it so hard to get through because look now, Belmont Swansea, options are limited.
Yeah.
And that's the end result. What needs to happen for Belmont Swansea is, and we spoke about this before, get your men wide and hit them and stretch Cook's Hill out, because if you can do that, then that'll create some extra holes inside. That'll allow you to get some 1-2s in and then maybe get something in to the byline behind and deliver it into the box.
And also even maybe a run beyond the back 4, what Nick Russell has done so well for Cook's Hill.
Correct,
today.
as he did when he was called offside, when we had a look at that opportunity where he wasn't.
So, substitution here for Cook's Hill. It's Lee Ashton making way. And it's going to be Tom Leolio to come on. I should say Hucken Carnley. Tom Leolio is still on the bench.
I remember seeing a sign years ago, said, "Who can, can."
I remember that as well. That was a grand final sign, wasn't it?
He's been at Lambton, he's been at Magic, he's been at Adamstown, he's been just about everywhere. Now he's at Cook's Hill.
Yeah, I picked him up. I brought him over to Magic when he was at playing 19s for Lake Macquarie, and he's a very talented player.
I don't think I've seen someone with such as good a close ball control as Hucken Carnley. We know he's a futsal player. Just incredible to watch him.
Just on the futsal, he was in the starting side until he went to a football tournament only a few weeks ago with Reece Cooper from Olympic and also someone from Valentine. And he actually lost his spot because Cook's Hill, they lost the game and boys are playing well. So Graham Law said he was very unfortunate not to get a start today. And what a handy replacement to come on.
To have him on the bench, that's that is something. So looking to go a little more defensive from what it seems to me, with Hucken Carnley playing a little deeper than Lee Ashton was. Here is he actually just caught offside.
And again, that's what Bell Swans aren't doing. They're not playing that 1-2 and that run beyond. Unfortunately, Yaxley was offside then, but it was a nice forward run beyond the back 4.
Just have a look. Do they look to be playing with the same formation here, Hucken Carnley?
Yeah, Hucken's just gone straight in the middle of the park. A like-for-like swap.
Armita.
I think he's been playing in the middle of the park most of the year, from all reports. If Clements was out, I think he was going to start in the middle of the park today. And Daniel Johnson dropped back into the back line. However, obviously Clements was good. And Clements has had a fabulous game. Been one of their best. And Nick Russell's been great. Callum Lewis has been great for Cook's Hill.
Shearer.
And again, Cook's Hill are very disciplined in defence, aren't they, CT? They hold their line really well. They stay compact. There's no one out defending.
They are, and we spoke about that man Clements, who's just on the ball and was fouled. He's had a great game, hasn't he? You know, and when you've got a solid defence like that, that makes everything else easier. I remember my ex-coach Trevor Smythe saying it's like the foundation of a house. If you got that in order, everything else on top of it will work itself out. I remember every pre-season, all he would ever do was work on that defence with the keeper and make sure everything was the way it should be there.
Had a great run through the back half of the season. Bell Swans, they won 9 of 10 in the lead up to the semi-finals, and are unbeaten at 11 of their last 12. The 10-match unbeaten streak. It was Parmita. Don't know. He definitely didn't get a touch, and it will be over for a goal kick in the end. And they started the season slowly, Bell Swans, before rampaging home, very much like Broadmeadow Magic in the NPL Northern New South Wales. We see that one go on top of the bar.
Just on that play there, Bart, just sorry to cut you off. Callum Lewis comes out off his back four into the pockets. That's what Bell Swans aren't doing either. Their front two is just staying high. They need to just drop off into the pockets, create that extra midfield turn, and that's what Cooksville are doing it very well.
This point right here is exactly where Belmont Swansea need to spread. And if it gets congested, look at the way Cooks Hill are congesting up the middle of the park, and now they've spread themselves well and have options. And I like the way that they've got lots of numbers running at the ball.
Here's Lodge. Ball with the knock on.
Great call from the keeper. Come home, I want it. There's no indecision about that. He just tells me exactly the way it's going to be.
Header over the sideline from Harvey. Still only the one change from Bell Swans. Cameron Lodge coming on. Similar from Cooks Hill. Huck and Carnley on for Ashton. Balcom with the throw. Johnson. Field for Cal Lewis. Already scored one this afternoon. He scored last weekend in the second leg against Thornton in the 7-1 win. He scored a hat-trick. And in Cooks Hill's 6-2 win over Bell Swans in round 3, it was Lee Ashton who scored 3, Callum Gallagher 2, and Mitch Cook scored an own goal. Josh Hall grabbed 2 for Bell Swans that afternoon. And it was Dan Rufo, the goal scorer, when Bell Swans won 1-0 in round 13. Here's Russell taking them on. Just couldn't find the cross he wanted.
And again, Cooks Hill using it with ACT. Russell, it could have been a little bit wider. It was a little bit in, but it could have been wider. But that's, that creates space, doesn't it? And he's had a great game, Nick Russell. He's been one of my picks for Sports Click Man of the Match. There's a few out there. Just on, we've got a Sports Click Man of the Match, boys, and we've also got a Harry's Schnitzel Play of the Day as well, haven't we, boys?
We have. As this corner, Alex Gillespie is charging after it. As Johnson whipped it in. Lewis. Now, who are we leaning towards? The Harry Schnitzel's Play of the Day at the moment. Carnley. That Daniel Johnson corner was impressive, wasn't it? Long range effort is Jake Hamilton's to run down. Will allow it just to run over the line.
Yes, on Harry Schnitzel's, there's Harry Snitty at Marketown, The Junction, and Stockland Jesmond. Love me Harry Snitties, love the famous.
Tell us about the cucumber. You leave that off and put them on your eyes. Is that right, Smudge?
Yep. A little bit of sweet chili sauce. Best in town. So, Harry sponsored our Play of the Day for the year. And then we've got our Sports Click Man of the Match, $100 voucher at Sports Click.
We've got a few contenders out here, really, haven't we? I mean, you've mentioned a couple. One we haven't mentioned is Ashley Balcom. I think that he's had a good game as well. He's done a lot of things that have gone unnoticed, but he's been a big contributor of stretching them out. As we see him now, he's not on screen at the moment, but he's stretching them out and calling for the play to come wide, which opens up the opportunities for Cooks Hill to be able to play more freely through the middle of the park.
That was Ash Balcom just with the throw. Johnson there, and we just saw a moment ago Callum Gallagher, who is from the Isle of Man, small country just off the coast of the mainland of the United Kingdom. And from what Graham Laws told me, he's been capped by his country at some sport. Now, being from the Isle of Man, there's not many people that live there. So, from what he's hinting at, it's very easy to be capped in a sport at the Isle of Man. What do you think, Smudge? Do you think you'd make the table tennis side there?
Oh, I wouldn't say table tennis. I know CT's with me. Oh, that's a great ball, isn't it?
We might come back to CT's table tennis days as Daniel Yaxley looks to find a double. Instead, he plays it back for Callan Lewis.
They're patient, aren't they, with the ball, CT? It's well played.
Yeah, they've really got a grip on this game. Cooks Hill, they know they're in front, they're keeping possession, playing in the right areas of the park.
The question I want to ask you too is, from the NPL sides we've seen this year, would Cooks Hill beat an NPL side?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of it comes down to fitness. They're a good side, Cooks Hill. However, it comes down to fitness, comes down to training. You know, most NPL sides train 3 nights a week. Cooks Hill probably do 2 nights a week. I'd probably say no.
Yeah,
but they're a good side. They're a very good side.
Look, we see it in leagues across the world. You look at the FFA Cup, lower league teams beat higher league teams. It happens for sure. But if you're going to talk out week in, week out football, there's definitely a difference there. And we've had the benefit of watching 2 semi-finals last night. One yesterday, one in the afternoon. And, the difference between them has been phenomenal. And, those games were amazing. This one's a 4-0.
We'll just see if we can get that. Here we go. Now, I think that's Pat Brown. There he is, just behind. There he is, the Lambton Jaffers striker watching the grand final here.
Well, he got our Harry City play of the day yesterday.
He's just under the logo, if you can see him on your screen there.
He's texting CT.
Just to the right. Oh, there's a buzz in the pocket. Oh, actually, no, that's Animal with another joke.
This one curled in. We'll speak about Pat in a minute. I'll tell you what, he could get Harry Snitzel's player of the day again this afternoon just for that interview yesterday he did with you, Smudge.
Good width from Cooks Hill.
This one curled in, that's going to go way over the bar. That was the interview of the season.
Yeah, he sort of threw me a little bit because I just asked him what his thoughts are on the following week for the grand final. He said, yeah, it's going to be a tough game against Edgeworth. Now, Edgeworth hadn't even made the grand final, so he sort of threw me a bit then because my next question was going to be, who do you think you'll be playing next week? So,
and he's a pretty confident character, isn't he?
Yes,
said he was going to cut them up. Olympic in the end, he did, didn't he? Scored. Backed up his words, says Clements and Hamilton, and here's Hall with a little bit of push and shove with the Cooks Hill keeper.
Anyway,
he'll be crucial for them, won't he? In the grand final.
Yeah, for sure.
That day for him, it will be a big one. He's an influential player, and he's got a lot of confidence about his football.
Okay, here's his forward run from the back four. Yaxley, great run.
Yaxley across the face and well defended in the end by Steele Harvey. But it's just basically Bell Swans defending for their lives at the moment.
Yeah, I think Bell Swans know it's a very difficult task, being 4-0 down. Obviously, Cooks Hill, they're looking very comfortable at the moment. Yeah, so we'll have to start thinking about our Harry Snitty's play of the day.
Russell curls it in. Parmeter gets there, and Johnson.
Great ball.
Was that an attempted shot, or what was he thinking there? And Parmeter, as he fumbled it, he does well to clutch hold of it in the end. Rolls it out. We mentioned a former teammate of Nigel Bogard and Joe Wheelhouse at Newcastle United. Cameron Lodge with a handball surely there. Not seen by Aaron Strickland. I think he was just blindsided. Gazzard. Grand final winner last year, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a case of another victory for him. A reminder, we will take the presentation live after this match, and we're going to present the Harry Snitzel's Player of the Day. We're going to present Sports Click Man of the Match, and we're going to get some post-match interviews. Declan downstairs is going to have a chat. Suck and Carnley. Ash Balcombe.
Very uncharacteristic of Ashley.
But
Not
it's
happy
just
with
the
that.
sting,
The
sting has gone out of this one, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, look, speaking of Clements before, he's an accountant. He'll be happy with the numbers that he's looking at.
Graham Law said he should be the smartest player in the club, but he isn't, being an accountant. But to be honest, accountants, they deal with numbers. So very smart with numbers doesn't necessarily mean in other areas, as here is Yaxley.
So Yaxley and Russell swapped again. Law loves to change his side up.
So I think he's being a bit harsh there. Here is the turn from Wilson.
Oh,
Threads it through. Cameron Lodge is offside. Strickland is going to come back and give the free kick to Bell Swans.
Wasn't that a great ball, CT? I'd like to see that again.
It was, and this may be closer than we thought. He's waited, and you know what?
It's a tough angle. It's a tough angle because the camera is facing back.
Let's have a look. It's when he leaves his foot, and here it is. And look at the line of defender.
So he's okay there.
He's okay. I think he's just gone.
Yeah, I'm saying just off. Just off.
Just.
Good call by the Lions person.
So while we're having a substitution, boys, this one from a brother Animal. What makes a scarecrow... Sorry, I'll say that again. What makes a scarecrow so special? He stands out in the field.
There's been no scarecrows out there this afternoon, CT. Angus Joseph coming onto the park in 13 for Bell Swans.
Sorry, timing wasn't great on all of that. What makes a scarecrow
Your wording
so special?
wasn't great. You didn't
He
articulate
stands
it too well
out
either.
in the field. I think we all get it.
Moving on from the scarecrow joke, Angus Joseph, it just came on. He joined from the Lambton Jaffers to come to Bell Swans. It's very quiet. Been very impressed as Mick Stafford by Angus. Playing out at left back. Callan Lewis goes to ground. Johnson. Holcomb. Yaxley takes on Harvey, who outmuscles him in the end.
Yeah, he did well, Harvey.
There's Lodge into the chest of Gillespie. Game just needs something, doesn't it? It's like it needs you to go onto the field, CT, and go for a run or something like that.
You know, not for Cooks Hill. Cooks Hill are happy just for the time that took away. There's 18 minutes to go. They're happy for this stop-start. It's been stop-start for the last few minutes. They're happy for the clock to wind down. It's all about the end result, isn't it, CT?
Absolutely. You know what? They've worked hard all year, and it's not just about these minutes here. Sure, this one's well, you'd have to say it's over, but the way that Cooks Hill have gone about it this year, they've conceded a lot of goals, yes. However, they've scored a lot, and they thoroughly, enjoyed a premiership already, and certainly well on the way to the grand final victory at this point.
You made a quite an interesting point there. I'm just looking at the table. Yeah, they conceded 36 goals, which is quite amazing actually for a premiers.
Now the worst defensive side in the top four.
In the top five. In the top five.
You know, that's the point. And when you I had a discussion with someone from Kahibra about this. When you're that attacking in your nature, sometimes you can leave yourself a little bit exposed. We haven't seen that from Cooks Hill today. They've been very solid in their back four particularly, and the way the midfield have screened in front of them. So it's a little bit unusual. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. A bit hard for me to see how that would have happened through the year if they played that way all the time. But they've certainly come out today and had some purpose about the defence and being very, very strong against an attacking Belmont Swansea. And
I think it's probably played into their hands a little bit with Bell Swans. They were the worst attacking side in the top four, the fifth. So they actually had a worse attack than one of the sides outside the top four. The fifth best in the comp, 48 goals in 22 games. And they played very, very well at home. They played 25 points out of 30 possible points in their 10 home matches this season. So it's been away from home where they struggled. They won just 5 of 10 matches away from home, 4 losses. In comparison, Cooks Hill lost just twice away from home.
And I tend to agree with CT. I can't believe they've leaked 36 goals after today's effort. Their defensive unit from the front to the back has been absolutely spot on. Restricted Bell Swans to only a few half chances, a few long range shots. That's about it. And again, they use their width. Russell has moved to the left hand side.
Clearance away from Wilson. I mentioned that winning streak from Bell Swans, which is going to, well, a really, really good run of form through the back half of the season. They lost 4 of 5 matches between round 7 and round 11, but since then the winning streak continued. Yeah, 4 of 11 they have lost.
Great run.
Lost 4 of 11 away from home, and
yeah, talking to Josh Ruffo during the week, he said it took him a while just to quite a few new players into the squad and probably change their shape a little bit from last year, so it took a while to them adapt, but their second half of the season has been superb.
Maybe going forward into next season, plenty to be happy about for Josh Ruffo. His first season of coaching, I believe it is, for him.
Yeah, I played with Josh Ruffo back at the Newcastle Breakers. I think he was in the youth team at the time. Yeah, very good player. Technically very good.
Someone that could be a very good coach.
Yes, I agree.
But obviously our mate Graham Law's done a fabulous job with Cooksville this year, hasn't he, CT? Just the way they've set up today has been absolutely spot on, especially defensively. I know in attack they've done really well, but defensively they have been rock solid.
Yeah, and it is hard to see how they've conceded that many goals during the season when they've been set up like that. You know what? The amount of energy that Graham Law puts into his team, his group, his people, his managers, the other coaches, their managers, the volunteers. You know, the whole thing. It's not just coaching a first grade side. It's bringing everything together, as you know, Smudge, and he does that really, really well. And I know that he's great at pulling people together to make that happen.
And you know what? He's sort of people feed off his passion. He's like an old Les True. Hey, Les True, you feed off his passion. Just love the game.
Yeah, absolutely he does, and you can't help it. You can't understand him all of the time, but you can't help but feel the energy that he's got about what he does. And you know, we're going to Scotland, you know, at the end of the year, and you know he's trying to organise tickets for us in Edinburgh. Whereas my brother Animal says Edinburgh. So, you know, he's all over that. And
that's your funniest joke all year.
No, that's the truth.
And he had a tough year last year at Adamstown, didn't he, Graham Law? And it's good to see that his coach side bounced back. He had a wretched season, injuries, red cards. That was the biggest thing that cruelled Adamstown's season last year after they went within about 4 points of making the finals in 2015. With Adamstown, he had Gary Kenneth out here. He had Guy Bates.
That's right. He did.
Great side.
But also he spent some time with Clayton Zane with the Newcastle Jets as well in the off-season. So, obviously, yeah, he's done a tremendous job and full credit to him. And I know the game's not over, but I can't see Bell Swans getting back into it from here.
I sat next to him for the majority of the game last week with Bell Swans and Cohiba, and you know, you just see he was watching every movement, every play, and he was just studying everything out of Bell Swans, and he would have come up with a plan for this week. And you know, maybe he would have looked at their attacking options and said, all right, we're going to lock up the back four here, screen in front, make sure we spread wide and attack in numbers, and maybe, you know, that combination gets them the result as dominant it was today.
Yeah, because they scored 66 goals in 20 games, so that's 3.2 goals.
76 in 22 if you include the 10 they scored
in
the finals.
So 76. So they're going to score goals. They scored on average over 3. Oh, Nick Russell.
Nick Russell with the nutmeg on Harvey, and he continues the run. Harvey gave him a bump. I don't think he was too happy with the nutmeg. As you normally are when you get nutmegged. It's not a great feeling, is it?
Not sure. It's never happened.
Yeah, not sure, Bart. Unsure, mate. But Nick Russell, for me, he's been superb today. He's in line for the sports man of the match for me. Look at this little... But just...
He's an attacking weapon, isn't he? Nick Russell, he knows how to play.
There it is, chipped in. Parmeter there again. Matthews after that one. Just keeps it inside the line. Can they get a consolation, Bell Swans? 2 years in a row they're going to go down in the grand final. That's heartbreaking for them last year. Well, that was heartbreaking in the penalty shootout. And this season looks as though it's going to be a big defeat. Cameron Lodge, he's been really good since he's come on.
Yeah, he has.
Probably, I'd say, one of Bell Swan's best, to be honest. No one else has really stood out, have they?
No, he showed energy. He's been busy. He's had a few half chances as well, so and he's used the width quite well. So yeah, he's done really well.
And who are you thinking at the moment? Sports Click, man of the match.
For me, I'm going to put my vote in for Nick Russell. He's been tremendous. He's been a menace in Bell Swans' defence. I think Daniel Johnson, the guy on the ball right now, he's been very good. He set up a few goals with his corners and set pieces. And also Daniel Clements at the back has been rock solid as well. For me, I think it's out of those three, unless you've got any other ideas.
I reckon Carnley, yeah, Nick Russell, he's been very good as well. Lee Ashton was good till he came off as well. Callum Gallagher's done some solid work. But I'm happy to go with Nick Russell.
What are your thoughts, CT?
I don't disagree with any of that, to be honest. And Nick Russell's been part of that attacking action that's really contributed to this victory for Cooks Hill. So no arguments from me.
Yeah, just Jake Hamilton and
Alex Gillespie was.
Just on the downward dog,
the
yoga.
both on
the downward dog together.
Like a stretch-field yoga and simultaneous movement.
Yeah, yoga session. Here's a free kick which just goes wide. And it will be a corner kick. Just to repeat the scores from earlier today. Some big results in the earlier matches. It was a win for West Wallsend in the 15s. 2-1 over Cooks Hill. West Wallsend 2, Cooks Hill 1 in the 17s. It was Cooks Hill 2-1 over West Wallsend in the 19s. New Lambton Eagles, they beat Bell Swans 3-2. And in the under-23s, Wallsend 4-1 over West Wallsend in the Wallsend derby. And in the 17s, there was a bit of a punch-up, actually. Red card.
Okay.
So,
did that have a bearing on the match?
Well, it was a 2-1 win to Cooks Hill, and the red card went to West Wallsend. So I am going to have a stab in the dark and say it probably did.
What was the score and what time of the game was it? Do you know?
Don't know that much.
It was onside.
And I'll tell you, in the 23s, I was having a chat to Gary Fisher. We had someone jump the fence, and I think took out Andrew Carney.
Yeah, someone from the opposite side, from Wallsend, jumped the fence and tackled Andrew Carney, who's the captain for West Wallsend.
So just someone from the crowd just jump over the fence. Well, there you go. We the only time I can think of someone jumping the fence this year was round 1 of the NPL, where we had our mate who actually played some football for West Wallsend, the bloke that jumped the fence.
He was our inaugural stripper. Streaker, sorry. Well, he was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Well, he was.
There's a difference between them, apparently.
Yeah, so that was an exciting game, and then he came and joined us for the post-match chat as well, the analysis.
Yeah, he was a character, wasn't he? Hey, so boys, just on our Harry Snitzer play of the day, we need to start to think about that. There's only 5 or so minutes to go. What are your thoughts, CT?
I'm going the corner. How often do you see corner whipped in?
From Daniel Johnson?
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. We haven't had any salmonators this afternoon.
We've got the Sean Matthews clearance.
Into the crowd.
The injury.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
But
you're injured and I'm not happy. Here you go, crowd. Take that.
Who would give that? I wouldn't interview him to give him that.
I'd go that with Sean.
So we've got 2 options. Sean Matthews with the crowd killer. He just pumped. if you've just joined us, he just
the highlight of the game.
He was frustrated.
He just pumped the ball into the crowd when it was Alex Gillespie down in the box, and the other, my option is Daniel Johnson with the corner that he scored the opening goal with.
Yeah, I'm sort of leaning towards Daniel Johnson because he's had a great game as well. He's probably in the top 3 players on the park. So
we don't want to condone people just booting the ball into the crowd.
Yeah, well, that's CT's. That was his suggestion.
Let's just make a difference between booting the ball and a full-blooded in-step drive into the people who are not too far away. And to be honest,
Is it
if and
another
when
change?
they do go down, you probably don't want to speak to Shauno because he doesn't want to know about it.
So Will McMaster heads on to the park for Bell Swans, local junior. He always gets a yellow card, apparently. Spends some time coaching the under-17s at Bell Swans.
So we've agreed our sports click man of the match, Nick Russell from Cooks Hill, and our Harry's Snitty player of the day to Daniel Johnson for curling the ball in from a corner.
Well, at the moment.
At the moment, yes, at the moment.
Here's Lodge again after this one. Clements has some work to do.
He's been superb, hasn't he, CT?
Yeah, we've mentioned him plenty of times throughout the game, and you know he was in doubt before it started, and he's just been faultless.
Yeah.
Really.
Here he is again. You can see he's got some strapping on that right, just the top of the right calf, around the knee maybe, lower knee.
The thing in Graham's Law side, he always encourages him to play out from the back, through the middle, up front. I like how he's sort of set his side up, ACT.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what he's doing here. He's not sure who's coming on, but
So
he's giving everyone an opportunity here to be a part of the grand final, and it's great news.
So it will be Tom Leolio coming on and Alex Gillespie off. He's a character, Tom Leolio, the number 3. He was at Adamstown last year. Played predominantly in the 22s, as it was known last season. He's known as the glue that holds the team together. Here's Ash Borkham.
Nice touch. Nice play.
They've been able to deal without the glue for 86 minutes. See if he can add a little more to Cooks Hill while he's out there. Here's Lodge. Corey Wilson. Rolling it in and rising at the back post was Joseph. Lodge whips it in. Clements just a little unsure there.
Just going back on Bell Swans, I think Josh Riffo should be very proud of his men. They've had a tremendous season this year, made the grand final again. So he's got a lot to build on for next year.
They've run into a quality side, haven't they?
They definitely have. They're a very good side, Cooks Hill.
I was talking to Mick Stafford.
Oh, here we go. We might get a... There we go. That ball almost cleaned
Boys,
up.
I was talking to Mick Stafford during the week, and he's obviously very passionate about Belmont Swansea. But you know, one of the big things about Belmont Swansea, they've come a long way. You spoke about 1986, a couple of years ago for sure. But these guys are up and coming. They've got players and people and the committee to help them continue on in their ways. We saw the ball delivered in.
Get a consolation. Yeah, Clements.
And it's a big compliment to the club to be from where they were a few years ago to where they are now, and obviously they're very proud. And one of the big messages that came out of that conversation was, regardless of the result, they're very, very proud of where they are today, and so they should be as well. So full compliment to Belmont Swansea. You've come up against a quality side in Cooks Hill, but you know, you hold your heads high because you've got a big future in front of you, and they're looking to build, the club and keep things on a roll. And with the people they've got there, I'm sure that will happen.
There's this one called in, and Leolio with a powerful header away. Inside 2 minutes to go now in the 2017 New FM Northern League 1 Grand Final. McMaster across, and he bullets that one into the crowd as well.
Just on that, CT, that was very well said, actually. I think Bell Swans should be very proud of themselves. They made the grand final last year, and they're very unlucky. They missed out on a penalty shootout. And today, and this year they've made the grand final, and they've come up against a red-hot Cooks Hill side. So,
and this is
congratulations to Joshua.
I was just going to say, would this be one of the best New FM sides that we have seen in the last few seasons, this Cooks Hill side?
Probably the best side I've seen in the last few seasons was CT side at Lake Macquarie. That was an absolute. They went undefeated all the way
since
through.
Then, since CT
Since
side.
then, I think so. Do you think CT?
I know Maitland, Valentine, Lakes have had some good sides, but
Look, one of the things about this side here is not only they've got good players, but they're well coached, and you can see that because their coach has gone and done the research. You can see they've had a plan. They've conceded goals previously. We know that. They've set up very, very strong defensively against a side that's got some quality players in Belmont Swansea. And then from there, they've let their attacking nature come out.
Here's Nick Russell attempting an audacious drive from distance. Just couldn't find the target.
Good side, well coached. It's about the summary of Cooks Hill.
Yep, and they have lived up to all the hype this season. At the start of the season, I think everyone saw their side and everyone thought they should win it this year, and they have done both. The Premiership and the Championship. Bell Swans won't come back from here. 4-0 down, and we are now into stoppage time. A reminder on Friday, the NPL live show on Facebook Live, the NPL Northern New South Wales Facebook page, 7 p.m. Looking forward to that. The grand final next Saturday will be live from 2 p.m. with the 18s, 4 with the 20s, and then 7 p.m. for the big decider between Edgeworth and Lambton. It should be a big weekend of football. The final weekend of football in the NPL Northern New South Wales. Here's McMaster down to the byline and straight into Ash Balcombe. Edgeworth will be playing in the NPL final series in mid-September. They're playing Canberra Olympic. If they win that match, they could potentially play at home in week 2. So we may be on hand again for that. We'll see how we go. Is Gallagher after that one. Not as many stoppages in the second half as we saw in the first. And we're going to head down to Declan at full time with some interviews. As Cooks Hill celebrate a first New FM Northern League 1 triumph.
Yep, and we'll present our Harry Snitzel play of the day to Daniel Johnson for scoring directly, virtually from a corner to give Cooks Hill the lead. And our Sports Click man of the match will go to Nick Russell. He's had a fabulous game, the left midfielder for Cooks Hill.
Here's Johnson almost away, and he was in on goal, potentially there. So Aaron Strickland awards the free kick to the Cookers. 92 minutes gone in the match. Not too long to go now.
He's had a good game, Daniel Johnson. He's getting our player of the day, but he's had a good game. He was probably in the top 3 players with Daniel Clements and our man of the match, Nick Russell. Actually, all the Cooks Hill have been very solid, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They've come out here with a purpose, and as we said right at the beginning, they came out with authority and have done the job today.
Is there a cherry on top? Not yet for Daniel Johnson. There could still be a chance here for Cooks Hill. It's Yaxley on the turn. Parmeter, a good save. See the Cooks Hill fans behind the goal. They're about to celebrate. They have had one great season, the Cookers. A season to savour finally receives its crowning glory for Cooks Hill. It's championship number 1, and they achieved the double, the first side to achieve it since Graham Law did with Maitland in 2014. Just 3 years since they entered the New FM Northern League 1, and the Cookers are the champions. What a story that is. And for Bell Swans, another year, 2 years in a row defeat in the grand final. And unfortunately for them, the 31-year itch for grand final glory will go into a 32nd season. Full-time in the New FM Northern League 1 grand final for 2017. Cooks Hill United 4, Bell Swans United 0. And we are going to head downstairs. I'll just have a look to see if Declan is there for a chat, but I'll go to you two boys first. Your thoughts? Just Cooks Hill too strong, weren't they?
Thoroughly deserved win for Cooks Hill. Congratulations to them, the whole club, the group, committee, volunteers, coaching staff, all of their juniors. They've got a massive junior base, big future, well done, and, triple tick. This is a great result for them. This footballing event we've seen this afternoon has just been something special. It's been something that's been worked hard on, and it's been going on for a long, long time in building their whole club as what it is today. They're going somewhere in the future, and as you can see is how tight they are right now. They're right in the thick of things, and you know what? a big win and thoroughly deserved again.
Yeah, 100% agree, CT. The other thing, unfortunately for Bell Swans, Cooks Hill got the advantage nice and early from set pieces, and that got them in the momentum, and they carried on with that. They were the better side. They were well coached by Graham Law and deserved winners.
And Declan just waiting down there to grab an interview. You can see Cooks Hill celebrating the victory, and Bell Swans enjoying it on that far side of the ground. Well, not enjoying it, I should say. Just going over to thank their fans for a good season for them, really. Finishing third. A great fight back last weekend against Cohiba. And we'll be sticking with the presentation here until it finishes. So, yeah, the Cookers, here they are celebrating with their fans. I'll just run through what we have coming up next week. And the earlier scores here today. So in the under-15s, West Wallsend 2, Cooks Hill 1. In the 17s, Cooks Hill reversed it. They won 2-1 against West Wallsend. In the 19s, New Lambton 3-2. They got the victory over Bell Swans. And in the under-23s, in the Wallsend derby, Wallsend beat West Wallsend 4-1. We're too strong. Here's the Bell Swan players. Another tough grand final day for them. So there's the team song from Cooks Hill. Graham Law back in the new FM League One. And back with premiership and championship success. So we're going to head down. Nick Russell is down there with Declan Payne. We'll head down there now.
Down on the sideline here with Nick Russell. And Nick, what a result for you boys.
Yeah, that's unreal. All the boys have come from situations where we weren't really winning the last few years, so to come together like we have, scored goals all year for fun, and it's awesome.
Graham Lord's obviously come to the club, brought all you boys in and revolutionised the place. How much of the good season, the result today especially, would you attribute to him?
Oh, all of it. He's been absolutely unreal. He brought us all together from day one. I couldn't say enough about him. He's unreal.
Thanks, Nick. Enjoy it. Back up to you, boys.
Yeah, great to chat to Nick Russell there with Declan. Grand final victory for Cooks Hill. Here's our man of the match this afternoon. Cooks Hill 4-0 winners. They led 3-0 at half-time. There was goals in the first half from Lee Ashton and Daniel Johnson. And the second half, Callum Lewis getting a tap in. And we may go down to Nick Russell again. He's with CT for the Sports Click Man of the Match. 2 interviews in one night for Nick Russell. We'll head down there now.
We're here with Nick Russell, our Sports Click Man of the Match. Nick, this must be a great feeling, winning the grand final.
Yeah, I've never felt anything like this in senior football. I can't explain it. I'm lost for words.
Tell me, you've just sung the team song. You've got all your mates here. You've worked so hard. Graham Law's really done a great job with the side. How are you feeling right now?
On top of the world, mate. On top of the world. Yeah, Graham brought us all together. We're all like a family here now at the moment. It's awesome. Yeah.
I just had a text from Jamie Burns who said, your left foot is something that every keeper fears and your opposition fears. And that's what we saw today. You personally had a huge contribution to your team. What was your mindset coming into this game, and what was said about the attacking nature of this side today?
We just had to keep doing what we're doing all year. We've gelled so well up front. I mean, we've scored a bucket load of goals, so it makes it so easy when we're just on the same page and just having fun. Yeah,
you know what? We noticed that conceded a lot of goals, and in those goals you conceded, there was something different today. The back four stood strong. The middle four, you screened in front of them well. Was that something you worked on during the week?
Yeah, definitely. But, I mean, when you score 3 or 4 goals during the season, we've kind of let ourselves down a bit by just taking our foot off the pedal. So, I mean, probably 3-4 weeks out from the season, Graham really stuck it into us, saying we needed to pick that up, and we fought for each other, and this is the results we get.
Cooks Hill have got a huge junior base, and they have a massive volunteer base. This club, for you to be in this position today, what would you say to all of the people who are involved in the club?
Just thank you. I mean, all we do is turn up to train and turn up on the weekends, and it is for them. It is for the volunteers. I mean, they don't get to watch us on a Saturday at our home games. I mean, but this is for them. They got to come here and watch us play and just have fun.
Well, this is the absolute pinnacle. You've got a huge crowd of support behind you. You've won the premiership. You've won the grand final. You've won our Sports Click Man of the Match. Congratulations on a great season and a great day. Well done, mate, and all the best for next season as well.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
All right, cheers. Very well deserved winner there of the Sports Click Man of the Match. And we'll hand you over to Damien Smith, who's got we'll just trottle over this way with the Harry Schnitzel Player of the Day. Smudge.
Okay, I've got the Harry Snitty Player of the Day to Cooks Hill midfielder Daniel Johnson. Mate, the reason why you're getting it because it's the first time we've seen this year a ball go in off the corner and you open the scoring for Cooks Hill. Congratulations, mate. What were your thoughts on the game?
It was a tough game. It's always going to be tough against Bell Swans. They never stop trying. So, look, it's good to move. It's good to play on this pitch. We can move the ball quick, and that's what we've done. Cut them open a little bit. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I thought offensively you were superb, but defensively you were brilliant. I couldn't believe when I seen the table today that you leaked 36 goals this season, but today you restricted Bell Swans to hardly minimal chances.
Yeah, we cop a bit of flack for conceding a few, but I think we get our left and right fullback pretty high, so it does expose us a bit, but you know, when we've got the quality up front, we can make up for it. So,
yeah, your coach Graham Law, when you can understand him, he's a great fella, a great coach.
Yeah, he's good. He's very professional in what he does, and he's bringing the NPL professionalism down to New FM, and it just shows on the park as well. Yeah.
Mate, you had a tremendous game, and you got Player of the Day. You unfortunately picked by the post by Nick Russell to get the Sports Click Man of the Match, mate. Have you been to Harry Snitty's?
I have, mate. I love a Harry Snitty, so famous will do me.
Yeah, famous. Yeah. You're famous?
Yeah, thanks.
Well, mate, congratulations. You're our Play of the Day. So celebrations tonight, obviously?
Yeah, we'll have a few sauces. Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah.
All right, mate. Daniel Johnson, congratulations on our Harry Snitty Play of the Day.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. And thanks, Harry's, as well. Cheers.
All right, Smudge, thanks for doing that. We'll wrap it up this evening from Magic Park just quickly. Firstly, I'm going to ask you your thoughts on the grand final next Saturday, Edgeworth and Lambton.
On a bigger pitch, Edgeworth.
Any more? No. Do you want to add any more?
No, not yet.
CT, I'm going to ask you about our live show on Friday. How are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about wearing makeup for the first time?
All right, let's get back to the game on Sunday. I'm looking forward to the live show. There's no doubt about that. Because Smudge, most people don't see how often he screws up. So to see it live, it's going to be good fun and a bit of sledge. It is just good fun. On to the game, though. I think with Lambton, Job's got an injury, I believe, with his foot. So depending on how that goes, I feel that's got an influence. Him and Kantarovsky interacted really well. The combination of those two guys, how they get through his foot, their combination is going to have a big impact on the game.
All right, well, that will wrap it all up here from Magic Park tonight. Cooks Hill winners for the first time in the New FM Northern League 1. Finished full-time at Magic Park. Cooks Hill 4, Bell Swans 0.